For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borg on 0414 429 391. Gday Maltaussies show. I'm Joe Borg and I'm going to reach you for another week, and I trust that you're going to enjoy the show. Sunday, we're going to have bingo at the Hamroom Club, 100 Jackson Street, Marsden Park. We're going to have free muffins, coffee, or tea, and we have 15 games, and you win good prizes, which is money. So, all electronically, computerized. So when you come, enjoy playing the games and you win some money. Who knows? See you at 3:30. We're gonna open the show with a beautiful song by Vince Bezzina, GHAZIZA Malta, Dear Malta.
عزيزة مالتا كم بيت متطلع سافرت وجيت لأستراليا طيب ما نسيتك إيبا نفتكرك الظاهرة دورة بالبحر إزدا وردت من كله فينا شرطة عيد سمفتك Even that players go as was little besta mich nicht celebra toro in zena bitwal mishauri bil pavagliuni con la Bentley Ziratan kekna, ziratan helwa, noksun medidera, kem nishti, liner janara,
Why Malta is so popular in 2025? Part 1.
Malta, a small island with a big personality. It's where history meets the sea, and every corner has a story waiting to be told. Malta is one of the easiest and most affordable places to get to in Europe. With budget-friendly tickets from most major cities, it's the perfect getaway for a weekend or a longer adventure. Now, let me show you what makes this island so special. Upon arrival, we picked up our rental car, which proved to be the beginning of our adventure.
Yes.
Vengo, ma già smanca. I think on the other side.
Apart from waiting for a long time to meet the representative, it took a while to fix the paperwork too. But all good in the end, we got our car and headed to Valletta, Malta's capital and a city with a fascinating past. Look, the ninja steps, you know? Valletta's charm lies in the seamless blend of history and daily life. It's a place that feels frozen in time. Built by the Knights of St. John, its streets are lined with colorful balconies and historic buildings. Lastly, we visit Fort Manuel on Manuel Island. It was built in 1723 to protect Valletta's northern bastions from enemy attack, and was decommissioned and abandoned in 1964. Though no longer in active use, Fort Manuel is as spectacular as it was back in the day, and is certainly worth exploring. After exploring Valletta, we hopped on a boat across the bay to Birgu, our gateway to the historic 3 series.
We continue with the CONCLAVE, the club, and the topic about the drugs. And your host, John MALLIA.
Il-KAZINist li jmiss dan jismu Sean Fenek.
Jienu. Mela, l-mistoqsija tiegħi dal-klim kollu ta' tnaqqis ta' riskju, tnaqqis ta' ħsara. Jista' jiġi interpretat bħala jisu sugar coating tal-fatt li id-droga tkisser il-ħajjiet, tkisser in-nies, u mhux tal-li tal-li ma' droga mhux biss għandek stejjer bħal tal-putu li għadu kif tkellem u ta' Miguel ukoll li
Li hemm nies marbutin, nies li tħobb, eċetera, eċetera, li jħobbu.
U mhux tal-li nies li tħobb, nies qrib tiegħek ma' s-soċjetà in ġenerali, tipo droga fiha hemm ħafna kriminalità.
Il-min tixtieq tindirazza din il-mistoqsija?
Kulħadd jista' jwieġibha fil-verità.
Alright, però naħseb l-iktar persuna naħseb li idonja biex twieġeb tkun.
Forsi xi ħaġa li ma tantx ħareġ ċar huwa meta qed nitkellmu fuq human rights based drug policies maħniex ngħidu li inti għandek human right li tuża drogi, imma li inti tibqa' human being irrespective if you're using a legal or an illegal substance. Issa, id-drogi ovvjament għandhom il-benefiċċji u għandhom ir-riski tagħhom. Meta aħna qegħdin nużaw kliem alternattiv, dan ma ġiex mis-sema, ġifieri da li inti tuża kliem inqas stigmatizzat jgħin biex jekk persuna għandha problema tfittex l-għajnuna. Fil-fatt, wieħed mill-ikbar barriers biex persuna tfittex l-għajnuna huwa l-istigma u d-diskriminalizzazzjoni. Ġifieri li inti jkollok miżuri bħal decriminalization, depenalization kif rajna fit-2015, kollha jgħinu biex inaqsu mhux neċessarjament l-użu ta' drogi imma r-riskji u l-użu problematiku li huwa relatat ma' dawn is-sustanzi.
Meta tajt sentenza bħal drogi għandhom il-benefiċċji tagħhom u għandhom il-problemi tagħhom, tħoss li kultant isa ħanuħulu minna ta' diet jew bit-sokkor.
Le, għaxxej.
Timminimizza naqra
Le, għaxxej, anzi, nagħti l-istampa ċara għaliex ħafna drabi nitkellmu biss fuq in-negattiv u ninsew li l-persuna qed tieħu xi tip ta' benefiċċju. Ovvjament, meta qed nitkellmu fuq dipendenza, hemmhekk imbagħad għandek sitwazzjoni differenti.
Għallina Matteo?
L-ewwel semmet il-problema mhijiex id-droga mhijiex l-addiction u l-addiction mhijiex id-droga. Huma affarijiet żewġ affarijiet kompletament differenti. Waħda mill-affarijiet għalfejn il-persuna tiżviluppa addiction hija trauma. Addiction is a trauma response. It's a trauma response. Now, drugs are a symptom of society. Huwa sintomu, mhuwiex il-problema. U minn hawnhekk qed nara l-mistoqsija tiegħek. U qed nifhimha b'naqra lenti differenti. Issa għandna nfittxu li jkollna soċjetà. Soċjetà qed infittxu fejn in-nies jużaw inqas droga. Jiġifieri s-soċjetà hija l-highlight, mhux id-droga, f'dik il-mistoqsija li poġġejt inti. Għax aħna din nfittxu soċjetà. U l-problema hija s-soċjetà mhux id-droga.
U aħna bħala membri ta' din is-soċjetà x'għandna nagħmlu?
Stja.
Programm ieħor
Naħseb kollox. Waħda mir-raġunijiet għalfejn kont nistenna da programm ma nafx kemm il-sena hija forsi li nkun bil-qiegħda hawnhekk. Ma nistgħux aħna nwieġbu dik il-mistoqsija nirriflettu għal ħadd ieħor jekk aħna ma mmorrux id-dar u nagħmlu l-homework tagħna kif suppost qabel ma nibdew nitkellmu fuq kemm għandi jkollu pakketti fil-but, kemm jista' jtini siringi mill-poliklinik, x'jista' jagħmel it-tabib.
X'inhu dak ix-xogħol? X'inhu dak ix-xogħol?
Xogħol fuqna nfusna bonesta kbira. Jien dak salva li ħajti. Nara nies xahar ilu approachjajt żewġ entitajiet hawn Malta ta' rehabilitation centers. Għedtulhom għalfej għadkom ma missejtux ma xi ħaġa daqshekk kruċjali li llum ix-xjenza tturi biċ-ċar fejn daw jekk għamlu xogħol jekk għamlu sena ġo rehab center għalfej ma t-tieni ġimgħa ma miltulhomx detox kif suppost. Daw in-nies immorru għand psikjatra jagħtihom pirmla 2-3 sew li l-half-life tagħha ġifieri dik kemm tibqa' bl-effett. Għandha ġimagħtej jew iktar u tibqa' fil-ġisem xhur. U jgħidlek l-esma di mhix qed taħdem ta' neħħija u ħanbiddillek ħudi. Mela meanwhile hemm di transition fej l-effett tal-pirmla l-oħra għadha għaddejja u ħantik pirmla oħra. Kif jista' jkun taħdem
ix-xogħol li naħseb kont qed timmira lejh imur oltre minn hekk. Fis-sens dan l-iskambju beda meta saqsejlek isma' is-soċjetà li għandna bżonn naslu għalija. Aħna parti minna s-soċjetà. Aħna kollha din is-soċjetà responsabbli għal dil-biċċa tax-xogħol. Aħna x'għandna nagħmlu bħala individwi jiena fil-poter tiegħi. Kieku tgħidli isma' Ġan, tax missek tagħmel inti biex is-soċjetà tkun aħjar? Meta ġa saqsiet lill-mistoqsija ma nasibx li mis-soċjetà eżistenti ta' bħalissa nistgħu nittekiljaw dik il-mistoqsija. Il-mentalità tas-soċjetà tittinbidel kompletament biex inkunu nistgħu nikkejterjaw dik il-mistoqsija. Ir-rehab centers u daw l-affarijiet għadhom mhumiex qed imissu mal-affarijiet bażiċi. Pereżempju, jiena kelli konversazzjoni twila mal-putu u kont pjuttost impressjonat għax għatlu l-għura xtodu tagħmlu jiena fil-xismu. U għalli pereżempju waħda minnhom kienet li jpoġġu bil-qiegħda. U jgħodu jistaqsu lilhom infushom, l-infushom jistaqsil ta' faċċata tiegħek, int min int, li hija identika, hija miżura identika għal dak li kont qed tgħid int. Mhuwiex illum il-ġurnata għandu ngħid f'dawn l-aħħar żnien kemm inni.
Profilli. Special guest Fabrizio Fionello. With your host James Aaron ELLUL.
U nemmen li xorta li inti tkun hemmhekk jista' jiftaħlek opportunitajiet internazzjonali. Ġifieri xorta nemmen li l-Eurovision Song Contest huwa importanti għalina l-Maltin sfortunatament aħna żgħar Sowa ħafna aktar diffiċli biex inti timraħ barra minn Malta, u allura dak il-park huwa żgur.
Il-passat,
il-vjaġġ. Huwa dak l-istep fejn inti forsi jarak xi ħadd jew investi fik xi ħadd, u huwa tajjeb ovvjament għax inti tillonċa diska li qed jaraw dawk il-miljuni kollha, ġifieri jekk tintoġob dik id-diska jew il-performance jew iktar u iktar li xi ħadd sib li investi allura huwa opportunità li ma tistax issiba ġo show ieħor.
Ħanabla dan it-tablet, naraw ftit it-tratti. Dik il-ritratt xi jfisser għalik.
Għaziz oħti, imħabba kbira lej oħti, għaddejna minn ħafna flimkien, kpejna tħaqna, u naħseb għal-kem ma nintaqawx ta' sikwiet, u nitkellmu forsi kull-jum, l-imħabba tagħna hija infinita.
Mill-kant li għatkom, ġviri apparti naħseb jiena l-imħabba ta' bej l-aħwa.
Eżatt.
Naħseb jiena l-kant.
Il-kant hija di ovvjament dan ir-ritratt inti ħadtu mill-performance li għamilna ġewwa mużika li naħseb ħafna nies kienu ilhom jistennew dak il-duet tiegħi u tagħha. U għadhom jitolbu li qatt ikun hemm xi ħaġa oħra. Għax tiskanta hija għandha followers kbar, u sija tagħha u sija tiegħi hija u naħseb anke barra minn xtudna hija waħda mix-xewqat kbar li ovvjament dejjem ngħidu li xi darba forsi qatt ikun hemm dik il-kanzunetta speċjali li forsi nagħmluha. F'dan il-każ kienet sal-aħħar.
Għattalaq bibin, daqsik. Ritrat li jmiss.
All right, sorry. Għawek kondera zaħi. Dat jaraw, jafu, jaraw. Mek kontadni kem kelli, 2021. Another summer night fil-kantoniera.
Għaxu pati dik li family bucks ġifiri.
Family bucks. U għadna sallum il-ġurnata ġifiri.
Dik il-ġenerazzjoni tijaj biex niftemu l-kollaraw minni bucks.
Eżatt, allura terġa' anki dak il-program kienu koll biex il-kanzunetta Another Summer Night kompli għaddejja. Għassallum il-ġurnata jena nkanta siltit minna u kullħat tikanta. Tifhem ġifiri biex tara kem anki dak iż-żmien it-televiżjoni kien u dak il-programm kien vera.
Iva,
kien eċċezzjonali. Xej, Another Summer Night dak ir-ritratt kien il-bidu naħseb ta' ħafna affarijiet li jiena wkoll esperjenzi li inti jibda jkollok nies iduru miegħek u tibda tgħid x'inhu jiġri qed tifhem tkun żgħir.
Letteralment il-vjaġġ, il-miġja.
Qabel jiena kont futboler, u ovvjament dak iż-żmien barra minn Malta kien mhux għax illum il-ġurnata nistgħu ngħidu għamilna avvanz kbir. Sewwa fil-productions, fil-photoshoots, fil-videos, ġifieri ma dak iż-żmien li inti tsiefer u tibda tara anke l-apparatu. Kif jinħadem kien xi ħaġa li ovvjament qasbis timmaġina. Allura ovvjament Another Summer Night tibqa' għal-qalbi u hawnhekk wara kien ma kellix illum il-ġurnata qed nikbru daqsxejn.
Tal-dak
il-mami is-Sinjura Faniello, the Queen, għana najdula the Queen of Karaoke. L-imħabba tal-mami, l-imħabba tal-mami hija ovvjament tibqa l-mami. Mux għed nejdlek li ma kenniex żmien fejn ma kenniex diskwit.
Kulħadd, ġifieri.
Eżatt, però llum il-ġurnata nista' ngħid li erġajna sibna lil xulxin. U ovvjament il-preżent u l-futur huwa sabiħ.
Ritrat li jmiss?
Dak minn fejn ċiftu. Dak inti qed tikxifli ġdaq xejn ta' eyebrows kelli jiena.
Kif bekk naħseb
ma nafx il-11-12 jista' jkun.
Konta dek mela.
Kelli l-eyebrows iġonġu.
Konta dek dejt t-esplora l-Malti, l-lingua Maltija u.
Dak iż-żmien kont li ma nafx irrid, tifhem.
Ta' dik is-sena. L-aħħar ritratt.
Il-finali tal-Under 14 ġewwa l-istadium ta' Taqali kontra l-Furjana. Kienet finali sal-aħħar.
Bej taslima u l-Furjana dejjem.
Ma kienet xi ħaġa li konna bqajna dejjin sal-penalti. Ġifieri għandna l-logħba li kemm warajna kienet belt Birkirkara. Li kienet dak iż-żmien ħott.
Żgur.
Ovvjament tista' timmaġina li.
Ngħidu
96.
Belt Birkirkara kienet dik l-epoka l-ektar li kienet taħraq ġifieri.
Eżatt, 96 u tista' timmaġina ovvjament Birkirkara kienu tiżommu. Ovvjament. Mal-Furjana, allora tista' timmaġina dawk in-nies kollha iżommu magħhom, ovvjament aħna kellna l-beltin kienu qed iżommu magħna. Tifhem ġifieri li ovvjament mbagħad kien irnexxinna bil-penaltis, bil-lok tal-penaltis li imma jaħasra meta narani nilgħab il-ballun u mbagħad.
Memorja sabiħa.
Hija passjoni
fil-kilba.
Imma kieku diġà spiċċat li karriera. Kieku forsi issa xi coach, forsi.
Ekku, forsi. Imma sabqa għattalaq bibil, forsi.
Forsi nerġgħu nilagħbu tgħid inti.
Ċekka naf.
Konna bdejna Peter Busuttin kien beda.
Kien beda xi ħaġa.
Kien beda xi ħaġa tal-kantanti, atturi, preżentaturi.
Laħast id-domandi jekk taf x'issajjar.
Inħobb, m'għandix ċans.
Tħobb is-sajjar jew taf is-sajjar, biex hemm differenza.
Ok, mela ħanejdu hekk. Mela, m'għandix riċetti, jiena nħobb
li tara bajnejk tipprova tagħmlu.
Imma apparentement li joġobni li jiena vera pitmu. U nies li provaw li kell tiegħi.
Faħru.
Faħru. Minix ġifieri dak ix-xef li nagħmellek il-platt kollu decorations u hekk, ġifieri. Imma il-palat.
Eżatt, it-toma da.
It-toma. Tkun tajba.
Jintoġob.
Yes. U joġobni ma li tikollok, anzi nirrilassa.
Kollok il-ħin, ekku. Sajf jew xitwa?
Sajf.
Sajf, għal xiex?
Li nara tem sabiħ.
Ekku.
It-tini wis enerġija.
Dik l-enerġija, ekku.
For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borg on 0414 429 391. The great conclusive of the new elect Pope Benedict.
Das, was man von Franziskus gesagt hat, der musste nicht.
As St. Francis said, but of course St. Francis did not become Pope. He did not want to. What we're looking for is a man of the gospel. This, I believe, is the deciding question.
On the morning of March the 12th, 180 cardinals celebrated a mass to pray that all would go well in the conclave about to commence. Under heavy rain and dark skies, 115 cardinal electors, all those under the age of 80, entered the Sistine Chapel to a litany of saints. They swore an oath of secrecy. The doors were ceremoniously closed. 2/3 of the 115 cardinals would have to agree in order to elect a new pope. Speculation over who would get the 77 votes required was feverish.
We'll look at their strengths and their experiences, things like what country they're from, the policy that they've headed up, where they sit in the church, obviously their theological views. Do they have an active Twitter following? It's almost a prerequisite these days. And then from there, we let the market decide.
Archbishop of Milan, Angelo Scola, was the front runner. As Archbishop of the world's largest diocese and former Patriarch of Venice, he was seen as the man who could reform the church from the inside.
Angelo Scola is well known, especially in Italy. He is close to the theology of Joseph Ratzinger.
Scola started off about 15-1 in the betting. He was quickly cut to about 2 or 3 to 1 after we saw a lot of money for him. Take someone like Cardinal Renzi from Nigeria. Started off, one of the front runners, 2 to 3 to 1. Quickly moved out to sort of 50 to 1 after we didn't see much money on him.
There are many who have pointed to Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York, who is this kind of media-savvy freak of nature, as one possibility. Some have talked about Cardinal Sean O'Malley of Boston, who is a profiler on the sexual abuse scandals that have been such a cancer for the Catholic Church.
Those who expected a Latin American pope saw a potential leader in Odilo Scherer, Archbishop of Sao Paulo in Brazil.
It seems that during the congregations before the conclave, Cardinal Scherer defended the workings of the Roman Curia, as opposed to the other cardinals who criticized the Roman Curia.
We hope that the next pope will have Mexico and the whole of Latin America in his heart.
As the faithful and the curious descended on Rome, a circus-like atmosphere permeated St. Peter's Square.
It would be very nice, I think, if the new Pope be like Francis I, or Francis, both in name and in his approach, and the things he does, following his teaching.
Inside the conclave, tension was mounting as the ballots came and went.
You'd ask, well, what do you think, etc. So you never ask people how you vote, but who do you think would be a strong, or you ask somebody about somebody else. You do that quite often. You ask a Brazilian what you know about Cardinal, Scherer. You ask Cardinal Kerlik, who's a good friend who's retired now in Paraná in Argentina, what about Cardinal Bergoglio?
All over the world, men and women prayed for a pope who could address the many different challenges facing the church.
When you reach 77, then you have elected a pope. Whether he'll accept is another question. But that's a moment when you could just hear a kind of a collective sigh of relief. And people applauded. And then they finished the tally, of course, they must.
I think the election of a pope is extraordinary. It's quick. The death of one pope or the resignation of a pope, within a fortnight, 3 weeks, you've got a new one. It's pretty quick. When you think of elections in countries, they go on and on. In the United States, or indeed in Germany, they're at it for months.
He comes back clothed in white, and then we all listen to the protodeacon of the College of Cardinals facing that great mural of the Last Judgment. When Christ returns in glory to judge the living and the dead, and the Pope is there, and he's listening to the 16th chapter of the Gospel according to St. Matthew, where he hears the words, Jesus telling Peter, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." And only 266 men have ever heard those words directed to them personally.
Finally, white smoke signaled that the cardinals had reached the 2/3 quorum and chosen their man. Bells rang across Rome, and quickly St. Peter's Square filled with a large crowd gathered to hear the news. The protodeacon stepped out onto the balcony to announce the new pope's name in Latin. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was the Cardinal Archbishop of Buenos Aires and had been the runner-up to Joseph Ratzinger in the previous conclave. It was the first time in 1,000 years that a non-European had been elected as the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, and the first time a Jesuit had been elevated to the office. It signaled radical change.
The choice was, I think, one that we took a long time to discern, trying to do what God wants for the church. And sometimes in the reports, people assume motivations based upon geography, where you're from, based upon ideology. But those don't play a large role.
I didn't have in my mind this man, Pope Francis. And I don't think any of the other cardinals, or at least very few of them, did. And it was during the congregations, they call them, the meetings that took place with the cardinals, all the cardinals, for nearly a week. I think that gradually you could see the portrait of someone. And I think it centered eventually on this man they hadn't thought of.
His adopted name, Pope Francis, was inspired by St. Francis of Assisi, defender of the poor and downtrodden. The message to the world was clear. White smoke billowing from a copper chimney was a sign to the world that one of its most powerful leaders had been chosen in the secrecy of the Sistine Chapel. The Cardinal's choice fell on Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. The enthusiastic crowd celebrated the new pope, even though his election had come as a surprise to all. Carolina Barros is the editor of the Buenos Aires Herald and has followed Cardinal Bergoglio's career.
He didn't expect to be elected pope if you look at the way he bought his ticket. He had a full trip ticket and he was meant to be back on the 23rd. He'll be staying in Rome forever.
The future Pope Francis grew up in this middle-class suburb of Buenos Aires called Flores, more than 11,000 kilometers away from Rome. Now almost completely rebuilt, this is the house where he was brought up by a family of Italian immigrants. Just round the corner is his primary school. Nuestra Señora de la Misericordia was his middle school, and these were the places he played and prayed as a devout Catholic boy.
Here he played football when he was a small boy, 5 years old. When he was bigger, he played football with his friends in the square.
He was a vivacious child.
I was stunned with Valletta City, the producer said.
I'm still using my Michelin map here. Very few things are actually marked on it with a name, but one is, and that's Hastings Garden, and that's right behind us. You really have to be on high alert when it comes to these kind of places where they've got bars and cafes. They're always pumping out the music, and I do not want to fall foul of YouTube copyright. I keep seeing this plant here. I don't know what it's called, but I do recognise it. The council areas in Sydney back in the 70s and 80s used to grow this. And it looked nice because it had pretty flowers. Unfortunately, if you're a child and you ate one of the leaves, well, that would ruin your day. As it turns out, I think they were all dug up and removed. This is one thing which is definitely marked on the map. Triton Fountain, and we're heading down there in a second. There are a couple of things down here I would like to see. Just personal things, but things all the same. They might be of interest to some people. Generally not the majority of tourists, that's for sure, but then when have I been a normal tourist? Okie dokie, we are going to be coming back here and we're going to be heading up that way, but for the time being, Triton Fountain, and we're going to head that way to see the things I wanted to see. If someone was going to ask, are there any railways on Malta? The answer would be no, because there are no railways in Malta, but there used to be. In fact, the Malta Railway used to run along here, but because of urban renewal, all signs have been obliterated, but there are still a few clues further down there, about a mile or two. That's where we're heading now. I've just left the park temporarily because I couldn't walk past here and not have a look. Right, let's get across the road and back into this park. This is the Wigna Court Water Tower, and I thought when I found this had something to do with the railway. But it's not a water tower for steam trains, it's part of the irrigation system for the city back in the days. But what we're looking for is around here. Got a feeling we might not be able to go in there. It is Botanic Gardens. Maybe we can. Ah, and there we go. That's the route of the original railway. While I'm here, I may as well have a little snoop around the Botanical Gardens, and then we'll follow the route of the old Malta Railway. Oh dear, this part of the garden might be closed, but I'm finding the size of these palm trees quite interesting. My ones aren't quite that big, but they're getting there. Yep, firmly closed. I think this is actually part of the local university, and that's why it's kind of a private botanical gardens, and that's probably why it's not open on a Sunday. Wonder what else we can see around here. And in case you're interested, this is the Argotti Botanic Gardens and Resources Centre, which is actually part of, as I said, the University of Malta. Looking at this, Malta is not a very hilly country. In fact, I just checked on Google, 253 meters above sea level. That's the highest point. Right, let's get back to the route of the old Malta Railway. Okie dokie, we're back at the water tower, but we've got this to look at, the Saria Church. In memory of Walton Norris Concrieve. I'm not actually sure what this place is. It's just a car park, but it had a very grand entrance. Right, I'm going to make an educated guess that that there is part of the old aqueduct system, because that's in the same alignment as that water tower back there. This is called St. Philip's Garden, and believe it or not, it's not actually on my Zen tourist map of Valletta. This hasn't seen any care for a few years, has it? The route of the old Malta Railway actually passes underneath this hill in a tunnel, and that's why we're not seeing any of it. I wonder what this place was. It says it was a bastion of some sort, but it looks more like it's just an abandoned area. So in case you're interested, here's some factoids on the Malta Railway. It was a single track railway line, metre gauge, and it was built in 1881 and continued until 1931. It hasn't been around for a while, and that's why there's not much of it remaining. I was just thinking, I know, amazing, isn't it? If you're still watching at this point, you must be interested in this video or the channel. And I just wanted to highlight the fact that the merch store is now open. It has taken a while, but we have got there. There are some very, very useful things which you don't realise you need, and there's some really ideal gifts for people who are special in your life, or even for yourself. So there's a link below. Have a look at the merch store. Thanks for shopping. That's the Porte de Beaume, and it is the only surviving gate of the original city. There used to be 4 gates. Originally it was built there, that was the only gate, and then the British added a second gate there just to allow traffic to head in both directions at the same time. Right, I'm still on the hunt for relics from the old Malta Railway, and I have found one. I had to dig deep on the internet to find this, but yes, here it is. It says online that it's a little bit overgrown, and they're not kidding. And of course I'm wearing shorts. Whoa, not a good idea. Let's see if we can actually get onto this viaduct. And there's the tunnel there, that's what I was looking for. Hopefully there's not too many nasty stingy things along here. Ouch. Okay, maybe there are. I actually find this quite fascinating. It hasn't been used as a railway line for over 90 years, but it's still here. It's a shame they can't use it somehow, but if you really want to see it, you know where to find it. This is Floriana Garden, although it does actually look more like an overgrown piece of land. And according to online reports, there is
I'm going to show you the beauty of Malta. I'm going to show you the first people in Malta, part 2.
They were hunting them and eating them.
And eating them. That's why I thought about garbage, because humans were living there, they were cooking, they were doing their stuff. And what we have here are the evidence of those human activities. This is a tibia, right tibia is a long bone. And if you can see...
That's a bone from the leg?
From the leg.
Of a deer?
Of a deer.
And that is a real bone?
A real bone.
From the Maltese deer?
From the Maltese deer, exactly.
And this deer was cooked by these hunter-gatherers, eaten?
Eaten.
Eaten. We don't know if it's cooked. But eaten, and then this bone was discarded, was thrown away, was left there.
Exactly. And you will be wondering, how do we know they were hunted or eaten by humans? So here, for example, I don't know if you can see, again, a very tiny piece of a femur of a deer.
Okay, that's also a piece of bone.
Yeah, this is a bone.
The top part of a bone, okay.
As you can see, it's burned. It's burned. So you have a human making fire, making hair.
So that's how you know they cooked them?
Yeah, they could part of the meat, but also they discard their bones inside the fire.
The fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, this bone is curved. The fracture is curved, which means the bone was breaking when it was fresh. It means someone got a hammer stone and broke the bone to access the marrow. The fat is stored inside the bone for nutritional purpose. A human.
Because an animal couldn't have done that.
Exactly. That's why we
know they were
humans here.
And not some other animal that caught the deer or killed the deer to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Actually.
Because there's human intervention, you mean?
Yeah, there's human intervention. This is fish. They were fishers too. They were fishing a lot of animals, and not only fish. What you have here are marine gastropods, and we have thousands of.
You found thousands of these.
Thousands.
So they ate these. They ate these.
They ate
shells. Like.
I mean, they didn't eat the shell. They ate
the inside.
The inside, of course.
So humans had to gather them from the sea. And bring them up to the cave.
To the cave.
And
based on the fauna that we know were living in Malta at that time, humans are the only ones who are able to gather and collect these edible gastropods from the sea.
It couldn't have been gathered by a fox?
No.
Okay.
Something that you can also see here is that we had been drilling the bones, in this case the tooth, for a stable isotope analysis.
Okay, you did that?
No, I didn't do it. A colleague of mine.
Okay, but the researchers did that?
Yeah. So based on the stable isotope, that allows us to infer how the environment looked like. What we have seen is that Malta was dominated by an open landscape. There was some trees, more or less a climate which is very similar to modern day conditions. And you can know all of that just by looking at the chemical composition of the teeth.
But I think it's also interesting to point out, like, not only is this not farming, but this like use of marine food is really interesting, because one of the mysterious things, you know, the temple period, people didn't really eat any seafood, which is strange for a Mediterranean island. You know, the textbook people, you know, the Neolithic, the Bronze Age, it's all about land animals and growing wheat. But these Mesolithic people, we have like 10,000 of these sea snails.
10,000?
10,000. You know, like this fish, vertebrae, backbone, this is a big fish.
Exactly.
You know?
Big fish.
Big fish. So these people, they were like a very mixed diet. They have the deer and the land animals, but also this is totally new, this society using these like sea resources.
U l-ħaġa interessanti li ovvjament dawn in-nies tridu jiġu bil-baħar. Malta kienet diġà gżira, ġifieri dak ifisser li n-nies tridu jiġu bil-baħar.
Ġida l-hunter-gatherers kienu diġà skoprew mod kif jagħmlu xi tip ta' dajsa li hija tajba biżżejjed għal dak l-open water biex jivvjaġġaw kemm isqallija.
Għandek minimum 100 kilometers.
Xi 100 kilometri. U dik ukoll hija l-ewwel darba li fil-Mediterran hemm evidenza ta' crossing ta' 100 kilometru minn dawn il-hunter-gatherers. Kienet ma kienniex evidenza ċara li dan ġara fil-Mediterran.
U issa għadkom għaddejjin.
Għadna għaddejjin.
L-istorja titkompli. L-istorja ħatkompli.
U ħansiru nafu minn kienu daw in-nies għax sa ġej il-ġenetika wkoll.
X'ġifieri min kien? Min kien? Min jista' jkun kien?
Ġifieri l-ancestry tagħhom, jekk skur ġew mis-Qallija, ġifieri. Aha.
U dawn kienu jidhru bħalna, ġifieri
No.
Le, kif kienu jidhru?
Skont il-ġenetika daw in-nies kellhom ġilda skur imma għajnihom ċari. Ġifieri blue-green eyes and dark skin. Kompletament differenti mill-lum, jiġifieri. L-ewwel bdina kienu differenti, they had dark eyes and paler skin. Il-kombinazzjoni li naraw għallum of pale eyes and pale skin ma kienx teżisti dawk iż-żminijiet.
What are we seeing here?
So what I study is the stone tools people used, right? So this is, the Stone Age, there's no metal, there's no pottery. Okay. And humans, we don't have claws, we don't have big teeth. So the way that early humans were able to survive was by making sharp-edged tools. These are some examples that we found at Latnia.
Those are
the Gday Maltaussies show. We're gonna have a top tour to Istanbul, to Europe. We're gonna spend 4 days in Istanbul, and of course, we're gonna have a tour cruise for 10 days. Everything inclusive. For more details, please give me a ring on 0414 429 391. It's a tour that you don't want to miss. Who came with me before, they know how I organize it. Ring me. Sunday, we're gonna have bingo at the Hambrun Club, 100 Jackson Street, Marsden Park. We're gonna have free muffins, coffee, or tea, and we have 15 games, and you win good prizes, which is money. So, all electronically, computerized. So when you come, enjoy playing the games, and you win some money. Who knows? See you at 3:30. I trust that you'll enjoy the show. And until we meet again next week, God bless. Good day, Maltese show. For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe Borg on 0414 429 391.